Welcome. I'm really excited to share some pretty powerful information with you here this evening. My name is Nada St. Germain, and I was introduced to Neolife over 30 years ago. I was tired, stressed. I had a job that dealt with shift work. I was working as a police officer, and I was just tired all the time. And when someone shared Neolife with me, I was really curious to give them a try, give the products a try, along with my mom, who really struggled with aches and pains and fibromyalgia. And after Neolife got into us, the difference that it made, the impact that these products have made in my life and my family and my friends, I couldn't wait to share this information. So 30 years later, we are here tonight, and our focus is going to be mental health, anxiety, depression, and just balancing and regulating your hormones. I think this is going to be, again, valuable information. So I'm so happy to have this available for you here this evening. Oops, sorry, it's jamming on me. There we go. So when you look at mental health, there's depression is the #1 cause of disability and loss of productivity in the world. So many people are struggling with depression, and 41% of Canadians say that they struggle with anxiety. That's really, really high. I would say it might even be higher over the last couple of years with what we're dealing with. And a full third say that they have been professionally diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, okay? So anti-anxiety meds, and again, over-the-counter medication, antidepressants. I mean, it's scary. They are considered, anxiety and depression are considered the condition of the decade. So we are going to help you understand not how to cure a condition, how to manage, how to regulate your hormones, to give your body the proper nutrients to deal with the stress. And that's what I found that happened to me. I mean, my job was still there. I was still working a stressful job. I was still dealing with shift work. I did struggle with a bit of depression and anxiety going into work on night shift because I was lack of sleep. And that really, it scared me. And when I started to feed my body the proper nutrients, what a difference it made in me dealing with the stress in my life. And that's what we're going to help you understand how good nutrition and good quality supplements can really help you and nourish the body and nourish your brain. Because nutrition and brain function plays a huge role, okay? You cannot have a healthy brain with a poor quality diet, okay? The food you eat every day is the foundation of your body for life. So you really got to look at what are you putting into your body. And you're more likely to suffer depression if you're born after 1945 than before 1914 due to increased pollution and deterioration of our diets. Look at what we're eating and look what we are not eating. And that's what we're going to focus on tonight. So yes, diet is important. Weight management plays a role, and physical activity. You need to look at these 3 areas of your life and see where you need to make changes to reach optimal nutrition. Now, when you look at your diet, look at the Canadian Food Guide. We were so grateful that they made changes to this guide back in 2019, because half your diet, right, should be your dark colored fruits and vegetables. You should have good quality protein and some whole grains, and water should be your drink of choice. The challenge is the whole grain department, and we're going to be focusing a little bit about, on that. Now, recently, there was a study that came out of Lancet, and it was done over 190 countries. And they found that it's what we aren't eating is actually killing us. And this was a global study. And we're going to talk about these nutrients, whole grains, fruit, nuts, seeds, omega-3, and low vegetables. So when you look at what we're missing and what we're not eating enough of, these are the things that are causing problems. But the whole grains is the part that I want to focus on right now, because our grains are no longer whole. I thought I was eating healthy. I was buying whole grain breads, multigrain, all of those grains, but I didn't realize that they weren't the same grains that they used to have back 70, 80 years ago. They used to grind the wheat, make the flour, make the bread, right? Our grains were whole. They weren't genetically modified. Boy, this is not the way it is today. Our grains are milled and processed, and all the oils are gone. We call it the great grain robbery, okay? Mass production, longer shelf life, more profit, okay? So The milling removes all the fiber, which is the outer layer of the grain, all your precious germ in your oils, 22 important nutrients. So what's left from your grain, from your wheat? Starch, white flour, protein, gluten. This is a huge challenge today. And we're now third and fourth generation, right? Kids not having these essential lipids in our diet. And this plays a really big role in mental health and balancing and regulating your hormones. So this is really important. So when I looked at Neolife 30 years ago, when I heard this story about the grains and the oils and not being in our diet, I found that, learning about cellular nutrition, it just made sense because all of our cells are not working properly. The cell on the left, nutrients are trying to get in, waste is trying to get out. These grain oils, the trana and grain oils, are the building blocks for our cell membrane, for the structure of the cell, for brain and nerve function and hormones. I had brutal PMS until I learned about trana and started supplementing with these grain oils. I was able to manage my PMS. Pretty much it was gone. I couldn't believe that I could have a normal cycle and not have all the moodiness and all the irritability. So important when it comes to regulating and balancing your hormones. Now, when you're looking at supplements, I'd love to bring Mary Ellen Vandenbring, our holistic nutritionist. She's going to give you a better idea and understanding, why supplements help to fill the gap, but the challenge we're having with some of the supplements that are out there. Mary Ellen, welcome.
Thank you, Nada. And I found that myself back, 28 years ago, because my son had respiratory issues. And here I was trying all these products from health food stores and drug stores, because I knew I had to fill the gap, even though we were eating the best we could at the time, but we weren't getting any results. And that's when I realized there's definitely differences in supplements. So when I dove into it and started looking what the criteria should be for a supplement, that's when I was introduced to Neolife and I found the whole food solution. I realized that it was very, very different, because I thought just because something was in a store that it was safe, right? But as you can see here, GNC, Walmart have been accused of selling adulterated herbals. There was speed-like ingredients in some products. GNC was accused of selling drug-spiked dietary supplements. So just because it's in a store, it does not mean that it is safe. And here's another recent study from 2007 to 2016. They actually tested 776 products that were marketed as dietary supplements, and they contain hidden active ingredients that were unsafe or unstudied. I know even the University of Guelph went into all the health food stores and drugstores, and none of the products are meeting label claims. So what do we need in a supplement? Well, you definitely need to deal with a company that you can trust. And that when I when we had dinner over at a coworker of my husband's, and I asked her what made Neolife different, she said, all I know, it's been around since 1958. It's made from whole food, and I'm not sick and tired anymore. And that's what impressed me. And the fact, when you look into the science, they do have a pharmaceutical license for manufacturing. They're in over 50 countries around the world, and they meet or exceed the health standards of all of these countries, because the products are based in nature, but they're backed by good evidence-based science. And when you look at the science, a lot of companies just have a good-looking doctor who endorses the product. Well, Neolife has the scientific advisory board that was founded by Dr. Arthur First. He was one of the top toxicologists in the world. And when he was doing his research in cancer, he found nutrients in food prevent disease. So that's why he joined up with Neolife in the 1970s. And he set up our prestigious scientific advisory board of world-renowned scientists and researchers who are involved in the research and development of the products. And because of this, and the fact that they're all independently tested and published in peer-reviewed journals, like the New England Journal of Medicine, the American College of Clinical Nutrition, you know that what's on the label, what's in the bottle is on the label and nothing else. And also what's in the bottle actually gets into the body. So that's very, very unique. And then, of course, you want to know what the product's made from. Just because something's natural, it can be anything from the ground or just have a little bit of natural in it. Where what Neolife does is it fills that gap with the whole grains, the fruits and vegetables, and the wild salmon, like Nana talked about in that Lancet study of what we're missing. And all the ingredients are also GMO-free too. So it's what our body recognizes. Food is our medicine, right? And again, only GMO free. So there's no genetically modified organisms in any of the products. So what's our diet for mental health? Well, sometimes some people have sensitivities to things like gluten or milk. So that can cause issues. So it's a good idea to get tested for food sensitivities. You want to eat a healthy diet rich in whole grains, raw fruits and veggies, nuts, legumes, and beans, and foods rich in those high omega-3s because they're so anti-inflammatory. You want to make sure your water is filtered. You don't want to be putting toxins in your body. You want to have complex carbs and low sugar foods. And we have a list of low glycemic foods that we can share with you. And of course, you want to get rid of all the processed stuff like caffeine, sugar. Sugar has phosphoric acid in it, or pop has phosphoric acid in it, and that leaches all the calcium and nutrients out of our body. Fried foods, chips, anything processed affects our brain because what we eat makes our body and makes our brain. And so, Nada, would you like to share how we can fill that gap with our ProVitality?
So when you're looking at mental health and brain function that we are talking about earlier, Mary Ellen, there's a lot of key nutrients that play a really big role. And we talked about some of those in that Lancet study, the grains, the fruits and vegetables, the fish. Well, this ProVitality pack that was developed and put together from Neolife helps to fill those nutritional gaps that we're not getting in our diet. So I'm going to talk about these 4 key nutrients that are in this pack that really we look at as being the foundation, okay? And when you're looking at cellular nutrition, we have over 73 trillion cells, and you're only as healthy as your cells. So again, that's where those grain oils play a role. And studies show there's a danger, again, from what we are missing, which are those lipids and phytosterols. So there was a very powerful statement made from a medical doctor, and he's made a statement that food manufacturers remove these ingredients, they call them spoilage prone compounds, essential fatty acids from pasta, bread, and breakfast cereal in order to lengthen the shelf life. And it's perhaps the most important health problem in America. So it's a huge problem. We cannot get these essential fatty acids in our diet. And Trianen is that one little green pill in that pack that fills the gap to get the cells healthy so nutrients can go in and waste can go out. So the other important fat is your omega-3, your fish oil. So important for brain function, emotional well-being, reduces inflammation in the body, including the brain. This is so important. I mean, Scotland study, again, they did a study in severely depressed patients, and 70 to 80%, they became normal in mood after supplying omega-3. This was a very, very powerful study. Now, how many servings of fresh fish should we be eating a week? Well, they're saying 2 to 3 servings a week, but the problem is mercury and lead. The problem is our fish clean? It's a challenge, and these essential fatty acids, they help to regulate our hormones. So, it's very, very difficult. So your hormone systems becomes unbalanced because, again, it's a challenge. And Marilyn, I know there's a challenge, I think, even with fish oils at the health food store. I know I picked up some bottles and it says right on there, don't take if you're pregnant.
Yeah, a lot of them too only have the 2 parts, and they are only tested for 5 contaminants. So there's still a lot of toxins in them. They're not pure the way the Neolife salmon oil is.
Yeah, and again, what's nice about the Neolife fish oil, it's not just salmon. It has the EPA and DHA found in tuna, mackerel, anchovies, and sardines, the best sources of omega-3. And it's so important. Eating bad fats displace the good fats, right? So become more deficient as a result. So it's really important that we supplement and take a good quality fish oil. And it's so important for inflammation, again, your brain. It's also important for eyes, very, very important, in postpartum depression. There's that mental health piece. We have some powerful testimonials of young moms, they have their babies and they're feeling great if they've been supplementing with good quality fish oil and those grain oils. And I've talked to some, women that have had children and suffered with severe depression postpartum. And they didn't supplement with good quality fish oil, which is really, really important from a prevention standpoint. And the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, they made a powerful statement. They were doing different studies on fish oil and looking at pregnant moms, and they chose the Neolife fish oil as being safe for pregnant moms. So this is a very, very important study, and we're so grateful to be featured in this magazine. Again, the Neolife difference, like Mary Ellen was talking about, is it has all eight omega-3, tested for hundreds of toxins with an allowance of 0. Okay, and 3 capsules of the salmon oil is equivalent to eating 4 ounces of fresh salmon. So again, just plays such a big role. And this product is something that is very dear to my heart. Some of you know that my son occurred a brain injury 2 years ago, and they gave him a 4 to 6 month window recovery. And the brain surgeon had Jack on a salmon oil. And I begged him, I said, please, can I put him on Neolife's? He was home in 6 weeks with 100% recovery. So reducing inflammation is so important. Then there's our fruits and veggies, right? Who's eating 13 servings of dark colored fruits and vegetables every single day? I know that's a huge challenge. Even for me, I try. I know, Mary Ellen, even being a holistic nutritionist, I know you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, but it's hard to get 13 servings every single day. And the carotenoids that's in this little Vitality pack, one of them after a month, taking one a day, it's equivalent to consuming 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables in every box. So fantastic for your immune system. Okay, it protects the cells from oxidative damage, and it protects the DNA in your cells as well. So it protects to damage the DNA. So really, really powerful. And it's all made from all your dark colored fruits and vegetables that we're not eating enough of. Whole food derived, proven to boost your immune system 37% in just 20 days. And then there's a multi. So you're getting your grain oil, your fish oil, your fruits and veggies, and a multivitamin, all in this convenient pack. Again, this is your core nutrition, just to make sure you're getting all those key nutrients to get your cells healthy. And this is our ProVitality pack. Fantastic place for people to start. Now, I'm going to share my nephew's story, Nash. I'm here with my nephew, Nash, and he just shared something personal with me today, and I just wanted for him to share it from his heart. Nash.
Hi guys. So I've been on ProVitality most of my life because of my aunt. She's always had us on the products. Because of personal reasons and COVID and everything, I stopped my auto ship for about 8 months. And about 4 months in, I started feeling like severe anxiety at work and at home. And I've never had any sort of issues with that in my entire life. So it was really weird. I almost had to go on stress leave for several months because of this. And one day I realized that I hadn't been eating properly or taking my ProVitality or my protein shakes in the morning anymore. So I asked my mom if she had any on her. I think I was 2 weeks in and all my anxiety was gone.
That's a powerful story, I would say. So grateful. He was here at Christmas, and he pulled me aside and said, Auntie Nat, I got to share something with you. And I said, I got to videotape you. And he did that in one take. So I was so proud of him. Anyway, so you know what, when you're looking at breakfast, and Nash mentioned the protein shake. So I'm going to have Mary Ellen come on and just share, what are people doing for breakfast and what should we be doing for breakfast, especially to feed our brain?
Yeah, that's so true, Nata, because I know when I, ask people, what are you eating? People say, well, I start my day healthy with cereal and toast and bagels. And the problem is it's all carbohydrate. And then again, they have a coffee, but a lot of times they have like one of those, like in the picture there, like one of those super Tim Horton coffees. So they're getting too much. So where is the protein, right? We need to have good quality protein first thing in the morning. So when you pair the Neolife shake with the ProVitality, it's an excellent way to start an energy-filled day. And why is it different? Well, it's biologically complete because it has all 22 amino acids. And people think that, proteins, it's just for bodybuilders and building muscle, but it has so many roles in the body. It's for enzymes to help in digestion. Because you think if you can't get the nutrients from your food, your brain won't be fed, right? Antibodies to fight infection and disease. Hormones, which Nata was talking about, we need to keep our hormones balanced. If we're producing a lot of cortisol and stress hormones and not producing the right hormones, our body is not balanced. And collagen, of course, for our skin. And one of the most important things is it controls blood sugar, and blood sugar plays a huge role because glucose is the main food for our brain. And if our blood sugar is all over the place, you hear people say, oh, I got shaky, hangry, irritable. That's because of blood sugar fluctuations. And as you can see, if you start your day with that carbohydrate breakfast, you're going to be in that red zone where you're on that roller coaster. So your blood sugar goes super high and then it bottoms down, and all day long you're on that roller coaster. Well, we want our blood sugar in that zone where that blue line is, because it's very important. It's great for weight loss and diabetics, prevents fat storage, fat burning, and gives us energy. And one of the main causes for depression is fatigue, right? You hear a lot of doctors hear people are so tired, and then it actually develops into depression. So what's inside the shake? As I mentioned, all 22 amino acids. It has a high protein quality score. And what that means is the protein's actually absorbed, because a lot of protein shakes out there are not absorbed and they actually are toxic to the body. It has 18 grams of good quality protein per serving, branched chain amino acids for the muscles, 5 grams of fiber, because fiber is important for slowing down the blood sugar, and controlled glycemic response, and 25 essential vitamins and minerals. So it's a power pack shake and very safe for kids. As you can see, my daughters have been drinking that shake since they could drink out of a sippy cup, because there's no artificial anything, right? So there's no warnings on it. You can give it to babies. It's 90% lactose free. And it's just a super clean shake. And I see a lot of shakes people show me, and they are not clean. A lot of them artificial sweeteners. They have all sorts of stuff in them. And also for people who don't want the dairy or soy, we do have another alternative. We've just introduced the Neolife vegan protein, and that's a plant-based protein that you can use that also does everything that we shared with the Neolife shake. So when you look at our kids, like I'm finding, especially right now, a lot of kids are having a lot of mental health issues. So this is the liquid vitamin with the shake, and the salmon oil is great for babies. Then we got the Vitascores and VitaGuard when they can chew a tablet. And again, it has those brain oils to feed the brain, which is so, so important. So Nada, do you want to share a little bit about stress? I know that a lot of us are dealing with that right now.
Yes, and as we're going into the stress piece, I'm going to actually have Heather come on, because she has an amazing story. I'd love for her to share, and then we're going to dive into all the challenges that come along with not having the key nutrients in your diet. Heather, can you please share your amazing story with us?
Thank you very much, Nada. Yeah, so I'm Heather LaCroix, and I live near Fenham Falls, actually, with my husband. We have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. So I was a school teacher for 25 years, and my husband owned his own engineering company. And I found teaching to be very, very stressful. The mental demands of my job were very high, adding to the normal stress of a busy household with teenagers. And it seemed that finances were always strained to the limit. I felt like I was always behind, too much to do and not enough time. And I was sadly neglecting my own self-care. I'm sure we all know people just like that. My stress had built up so much that I burned out. I simply couldn't function properly. I was diagnosed as clinically depressed and was off work on stress leave, was under a psychiatrist's care, and was prescribed antidepressant medication. Well, through Neolife, I had learned about the power of good nutrition, and I wanted to avoid taking drugs if at all possible. So I consulted a naturopathic doctor who approved the Neolife products that I wanted to take. I showed her what I had. So along with the breakfast pack that I was taking, I increased my Super B, those B vitamins, the Salmon Oil Plus for the omega-3s, Aloe Vera Plus, and the herbal Rest and Relax, which is one of our herbals. And after a year off work with regular counseling, self-care, lots of rest, and the extra Neolife nutritionals, I was given the okay by my doctor to return to teaching. So I taught for another year and retired in 2009. And I now live a very active life and can truly say I experience joy every day, especially now that the snow is here and I can go snowshoeing. And in these stressful times, we hear that even more children are experiencing mental health issues. So I hope that by sharing my story, I can help others in their journey to complete wellness, starting with optimal nutrition.
Thank you, Heather. So wonderful. And I know we talked about, your journey several times, and I've known you for many, many years. And I know that these B vitamins play a really big role, because when you're under stress, the B vitamins get depleted. Long-term unresolved stress can cause depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. And then what do people do? They usually turn to food that are sugary. They drink more coffee. They turn to alcohol. And sometimes smoking is also increased, can actually cause more stress on the body. So sometimes this is what happens. And, there's so much more you can do naturally. I mean, what is anxiety? Where anxiety, it's when you feel intense and fear and discomfort, obsessive thinking due to fight or flight, sympathetic response, you have heart palpitations and shaking, shortness of breath. Sometimes people even feel like they're choking, chest pain, discomfort, nausea, abdominal upset, dizziness, fear of losing control, fear of dying, chills, hot flashes. So there's so much that comes along with anxiety, and it's a real, real challenge for many today. And then, Heather talked about depression, sadness and hopeless and feeling worthless. And there's so many challenges, and, the loss of energy and trouble sleeping, appetite changes, and you either gain weight or you lose weight. And, then sometimes people resort to spending money and doing things that are abusive to themselves. So you really need to look at, how do I balance this? How do I protect myself? And nutrition plays such a big role in controlling and regulating all of this. And I'm going to share my dear friend Laurie's story with you as well. I want her to share her personal testimonial on how the products have had a huge impact in dealing with depression.
When I met Nada, I was very seriously depressed. Probably the worst I've ever been in my life. And I was on many medications for anxiety and depression. And I knew that's not the kind of life I wanted to live. So I was introduced to Nada by a friend, and I got started on the products. I think I was taking vitamin B, the Tran-N, and the protein shakes. And with the assist of my doctor, within about 3 months, I was weaned off all my medications and feeling like I'd probably never felt before, because I think I suffered from depression probably since I was a very young girl. So it was a whole new way of living for me. And ever since then,
yeah, Laurie's been doing amazing. And I think we added the fish oil too, the omega-3.
Eventually,
Eventually,
yes. Yeah.
But I think the Tran-N.
Yeah, the Tran-N and the vitamin B at the time was I think the two key ones, and then the protein, of course.
Yeah, so I watched an amazing transition, and she's become a very strong woman, and again 20 years later, and just doing incredibly well. So just the power of whole food nutrition, whole food supplements from Neolife being as a foundation and changing her life. So I just wanted to share that story with you. Thank you. So Laurie's still doing amazing, and just a dear, dear friend. There's also other changes that we feel that you also need to make. And Mary Ellen, I know you, when you're talking to your clients, supplementation is important, but also making some of those lifestyle changes, I think, plays a really big role. I think even Heather mentioned that she had to make some changes and looking for help. And there's nothing wrong with finding help in other areas as well. But these are some of the other things that you can do, right, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, I've, when you add this in, it just makes everything work better. I always say nutrition is like a pie, right? The more pieces you have, the more complete it is. So some people do find like either prayer or meditation or deep breathing or yoga calms the body, right? And if we can calm our nervous system, it definitely helps. Exercising and staying active, so important, those endorphins for the brain. Because, even though it's cold right now, if you get out and have a nice walk outside, you feel so much better, or walk on the beach even better. Diet, of course, is so important. Like we talked about, keeping the blood sugar regular, dehydration, because the brain is made of water, protein, and fat. So important to drink that good water. Watch your chemicals and artificial flavorings and colorings and high sugar. It can actually, like you see kids, they go crazy, they get angry. It can affect the moods. And eat vegetables, fruit, and lean proteins. We are going to talk a lot about the different supplements that do help tonight, and omega-3s is one of the biggies. Avoid alcohol. It is a sedative. So if you're having sleeping problems, you get to sleep faster, but you're going to wake up in the middle of the night when your liver starts yelling at you that it's very unhappy. And avoid smoking, same as above. The earlier you start smoking, the more chance of anxiety because it does deplete nutrients in the body. So again, get adequate sleep, very important. And some tips for sleep, of course, are get off of your cell phones and your devices a couple hours before bed. Get a nighttime routine. Some people find chamomile tea helps. There's a lot of tips that you can do. Some people find aromatherapy calms and relaxes, like things like bergamot and lavender. Like I mentioned, chamomile tea. Journaling, like, being grateful, positive affirmations, prayer, gratitude lists. And remember, home remedies can ease anxiety, but if you need professional help, of course, always do that because this just complements it. These products don't, replace or they don't cure any disease, but it is amazing what the body can do, as you heard in some of the stories tonight, once the body gets balanced. And vitamin D, that is so important for our mood because like when you're in the sun and you get that sun, that's a same type of thing. And so if you are in the sun, you want to go 20 minutes a day without sunscreen or blockers in a bikini. So we're definitely not doing that right now. It's very difficult in winter unless you're in Florida. And even there, it's a little chilly right now. And research suggests that there's 11 times more likely to be depressed if you're deficient in vitamin D than someone who is not deficient. We know all the benefits of vitamin D, immune system, everything else, but it also plays a huge role. And the difference with the Neolife vitamin D is it's made from food. It's not made from sheep wool, right? Which are lanolin, which most of them. And they use mushrooms, which there's so many health benefits of mushrooms, and reindeer lichen, which is again is a food. It's plant source. It's been proven to be absorbed in the body. And we're getting really good feedback of people whose vitamin D levels are coming up, including my own when I started taking it. And magnesium, so important for the nerves. As you know, magnesium has over 500 different functions in the body. And for neurological, it's for healthy nerve transmission and calm and balanced mood. And that's what we're going to focus on tonight. But you can see it does all sorts of other things for your muscles, your heart, your immune system, metabolic health. And again, what's the Neolife difference? Well, they have that exclusive tri-mag blend. So they have 3 different sources of magnesium, very high potency. It's amino acid chelated. That means you absorb this magnesium 5 times more than regular magnesium. But it's also got a phytomag blend. It's got in it beets, kale, broccoli, radish. It's 100% vegan. So it's an incredible product. And B vitamins, the happy vitamins, right? Especially women, we need so many B vitamins. I know if you're stressed, you lose every B in your body in 20 minutes. So unless you put it back in through food or supplementation, you are running on 0, right? And you can tell it's so important for regulating the mind, the mood. B is one of the water-soluble vitamins, like vitamin C. So what that means is you lose it in your body all the time. So it has to be constantly replaced through diet and supplements. And what increases our needs for a vitamin B? Well, stress, as I mentioned. Infections play a huge role. Medications such as birth control pill. That's why a lot of young women are told to take folic acid because they've been on the birth control pill. Alcohol depletes it. That's why a lot of alcoholics get depressed. And caffeine. And the difference with the Neolife vitamin B, it's a unique whole food source. And it begins with nutritional yeast, not the bad yeast. This is healthy yeast. And it contains a full complement of all of the Bs. Because how it works with Bs, if you just take B6 or B12, you know how in your chain you're only as strong as your weakest link? Well, you only absorb to the smallest amount of B in your body. So you want to make sure you have all of them delivered in balanced natural ratios so that you don't have a high intake of one, which causes deficiencies of the others. And then our aloe, for stress. This because you think, what happens when you're stressed? You hear kids say, oh, my tummy hurts, because the first thing it does, it hits you in the gut, right? So if you just slowly sip 2 ounces of our aloe vera, it's calming. It's great. Also, I have really good results with kids with constipation with that in our probiotic. And this isn't just aloe, it's also chamomile, ginseng, passion flower. And what it helps with is anxiety, stress, and depression. And I remember Nata Jerry Bodano when she had her twins and she was so depressed, and her husband came home with that big bottle of aloe, and she was able to get off of her medications.
Yeah, it really helped her.
Yeah. And acidophilus, there's such a connection between the brain and the gut, right? New research suggests a significant link between the health of the gut and its bacterial population and mental health. And one of the reasons is if you have the right bacteria in your gut, you will make some of your own B vitamins. So what destroys this good bacteria? Processed foods, sugars, medication, antibiotics, preservatives. And when that happens, the bad bacteria takes over. You get an overgrowth. One thing that some people find helpful is to do our Candida cleanse. I'm actually on day, I think, 18 or 19 right now of the cleanse. And you just so easy. You just do garlic and acidophilus and eat healthy for 30 days. And the acidophilus is targeted delivered. So they actually have a mechanical stomach when they developed the acidophilus, and they started to test all the acidophilus on the market. And none of them made it through that stomach acid. But the Neolife acidophilus, 99.9% target delivery. You get 5 billion live bacteria guaranteed, including acidophilus, bifidum, bulgaricus, and casei. Most of them, what you see on the bottle is the amount at manufacture. It does not mean that it's even when you buy the product, it has it, or it's going to get down into the gut. So Nata, we talked about a lot of supplements tonight. Do you want to kind of summarize everything for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we talked about a lot of different nutrients, and I know when Heather talked about the breakfast pack and Nash talked about the breakfast pack, I mean, that's usually a great place to start. And adding the B vitamins is also great. But I would love to have Shelly come on. She has a special guest tonight that I can't wait to hear her amazing story. So Shelly.
Thanks, Nata. Yes, I was introduced to these products 12 years ago when I had joint pain, and goodness, within a month after trying so many different products, these also worked for me. So, and then actually I was curling. I'm very active as other people are. And I met Susan while I was curling, and I'm so grateful that I knew her, because last year I broke my leg. And when I looked up, who was standing in front of me but Susan? and so we started chatting, and she started telling me a bit about her story afterwards, after I'd gotten home from the hospital and we reconnected and stuff. And I was like, oh, what, I'm wondering if you're open to learning a little bit about these products. And she was. And so I'll have her share, because she was sharing about her job and her anxiety, and oh my goodness, just what I've watched her, how she's changed. Yeah, I would love for her to share her story.
Thanks, Shelly. I'm so happy to be here tonight to be able to share this, because it's so important, and people need to hear about these products because they work. And so I suffered with anxiety for many, many, many years. But it took COVID for me to really see how bad I was. I almost instantly had to stop work. And I wasn't even leaving my house. I wasn't even going to a store. I was petrified. I was petrified of my kids getting sick, and what if something happens to them? And that list, Nata, that you shared of symptoms that people have with anxiety, I hit a lot of those looking at that list. And the obsessive thinking was a big one for me. So yeah, when I shared with Shelly and I got started on the Neolife products, the ProVitality pack, I started noticing little things. And the first thing I think I noticed was my sleep. And I've always been a pretty good sleeper, but I'm not a morning person, never was. But I was waking up in the morning with wide eyes, and I just had all this energy, which was so huge for me because it was hard for me to get moving. So that was a big one. And then I noticed little things like doing schoolwork with my son when they were home during the day. My focus was better, and I was picking up on his math so quick and able to help him with it, which was so great. But with my anxiety, it took probably, I was maybe 3, 4, 5 months when it really started to improve. And I actually just shared with Shelly last night that I went to the pet store to buy some food, and I was in there for a good 15 minutes talking with one of the staff. And I got in my car and I said to myself, she didn't have a mask on. And I didn't even notice. I am so happy that I'm getting out and I'm okay with it. And like, it amazes me every day, where I've come, because it's huge. And, I hope by sharing this and talking with friends and family, that word will keep getting out, and, people can get help.
And I think that's so important, Susan. And with you with a nursing background in that industry, you actually had left your job and started feeling so much better that you now have gone back to work, right? I have. And I'm back in nursing again, and I am loving it, and I feel great. And there's times where I know there's COVID positive patients, and I am totally fine. So yeah, it's been amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing. It's been fabulous to watch you through your journey, and Thanks, I know that, by sharing this, it'll help to impact a lot of lives as well. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. You're right, Shelley. This, hearing stories just gives people hope, I think. And, sometimes I think what happens with mental health, people feel like they're lost and that there isn't any hope for them. And, Neolife does offer hope. And, with good quality supplements, you can really turn things around. So grateful for you sharing. Thank you so much. And the breakfast pack is definitely the core nutrition that we'd like people to focus on. And then again, you can look at adding some of the other things if you really need them. So always start with the basics, see what it does, and then build on that. So that's how we call this our core nutrition, which is our breakfast pack. So some of you are probably thinking, well, how do I get a hold of these amazing products? And what's really nice about the Neolife clubs, we have a wellness club, and it's free to join. As soon as you join, you automatically get a 15% discount. And when you go on auto ship, for example, that breakfast pack or that Vitality pack is a month's supply. So when you go on auto ship, you get wholesale price and you get all your shipping back in 6 months. So I know a lot of my customers love getting their shipping back because then they can spend it on other products. So just a great way to have free shipping. There's also a referral program. If you refer 3 people to one of those health packs, whether it be the Vitality pack or the breakfast pack or the weight loss pack, you get your pack free every single month. So great referral program. But most people, again, they usually share that breakfast pack, which is definitely the best seller. And again, if you share it with 3, you get yours free. That's our breakfast pack. There is an amazing Facebook group, and some of the stories you heard tonight and many, many more are actually posted in this Facebook group. We can actually invite you to this group. There's over 8,000 members now. So if you'd like to learn more about some of the other amazing health transformations that people have had, you can read them and find them. There's some videos or some written testimonials, before and after pictures. Just a great group to take a look at to show you some of the other Neolife differences. And then there's one more option. And we're not going to go into all the details of the business tonight, but if you're curious, or if you or someone you know really enjoys helping others, this really forms an amazing foundation for a great business. And some of you know my story. I was working as a police officer, stressed, tired. I was just looking for better health, not really realizing that I didn't want to be a police officer anymore until I got more involved with having an impact in people's lives. So if you're looking at generating part-time income, or maybe looking at building something for your future, like for myself, I wanted to leave my career and just have more time freedom, this business can allow that for you as well. So we are actually going to stop the meeting, and open it up to questions, because I know you probably have many, many questions after hearing all these fabulous stories and testimonials tonight. So I'm going to stop the recording.